Okay, how's everybody doing this evening? I have a feeling this is going to be a long video, so stay tuned. I got a lot to talk about. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that I believe, actually I'm going to say this right out, I think everything with EOS is happening exactly the way it was intended to happen. And the only thing going on right now is a few people don't understand exactly all the good intentions behind the EOS, behind EOS and the platform. And what I want to talk about is I want to talk about how there's a number of disciplines involved with EOS that I don't think any one person completely understands, because everybody has their area of studies, their area of expertise. But the EOS platform is the first platform, I believe, that encompasses a complete understanding of how the world works and how the world functions in a way to organize it, put it in the community, and have it be able to be used by other people in a way that it's free and in a way that it adds utility and benefit to everybody. And I'm going to talk about two examples here. The first one is I'm going to talk about the fact that of custody. A lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot of people, some people are not understanding the issue of custody. What I mean by custody is somebody stealing your property, taking your property without you giving them or handing it over or anything. They're stealing it from you, for lack of a better word. They're just stealing it from you. That has to be remedied. If that's not remedied, nobody feels safe on the platform. That is being addressed, and that is being remedied by EOS in a very specific, detailed, organized way that has already been set forth before the platform, or while the platform, before the platform even launched, and continues to be fluid with the platform, not rigid, but fluid. Things can be changed by the community. But if you don't fix the custody issue, making sure nobody gets their EOS coins stole or taken by somebody taking your private key or somebody hacking your wallet, if you don't get those things fixed, then EOS isn't going to be the platform that will take over the future. I believe EOS will be the platform that takes us over the future, because this is one of the issues they address, and they are dealing with it in a very matter-of-fact way. But some people don't see that. The second issue that EOS is dealing with, and there's a number of other issues, but I'll just address two, is the idea of perpetual property rights. I see that talked about. Now, I had the privilege of going to law school, so I have a discipline of law. I understand the law. I sat through a whole year of contract law, and I sat through a whole year of property law. So I understand the idea of perpetual property rights. There is no such thing as perpetual property rights in the law, and for good reason. There's a rule called the rule of perpetuities. If you've never heard of it, then look it up. It's called the rule of perpetuities. What it means is that nobody controls from the grave. If you could control from the grave, you could continue to control property or control assets forever. You could just make out a will that says, let's say I'm a very wealthy man and I own the state of Kansas, and my last will and testament is I'm going to say that nobody can ever own the state of Kansas, because I'm going to keep it forever, and that's my last will and testament. If you were allowed to do that, that would inhibit commerce. That would inhibit people being able to buy and sell, trade, and everything like that. You would actually stall all commerce, all activity, if you were able to control things from the grave, the hand that controls from the grave. So that it doesn't exist, because everything has to eventually turn over. So you can't just hold property forever. EOS has addressed that, because they understand when you tie up property and you are inactive, then that ties up resources and things can't progress. I'll give you another example. If you own a piece of real estate and you don't pay the taxes on that real estate, and you just continue to live in the house or the farm or wherever you're at, and it just continues to go over time and time and time, you never pay your taxes, you never keep the property up, you never do anything, you are going to be in trouble with the tax authorities. Somebody's going to come out and they're going to foreclose on your property. They're going to take your property away because you haven't paid the taxes. Inactivity, the hand from the grave, All this stuff is well-versed, well-written in property law. Like I say, I spent a year of law school studying this stuff, and it doesn't exist anywhere. It goes clear back to common law, the old English common law, and the rule of perpetuities, which is a life and being in 21 years. Don't bother to try to understand it. If you want to look it up, go ahead and look it up. But if you draft wills, if you are in any kind of estate planning, you understand the rules of perpetuities, which means you cannot control from the grave, which is a good thing, because if you could control from the grave, there would be a lot of miserly people that would die and control real estate, control assets from the grave, and they would do it forever. They'd write some sort of, concocted, wild, estate plan where nobody could touch anything for the next 2,000 years. And believe me, people would do that. So that's the first issue. This platform is operating exactly as it was intended. And the fact that they built these ideas into this is amazing to me. It's really amazing because they understand so much more than just the code is law. So, they have to bring in all the governance. They have to bring in all this other stuff. This is the only way something like this can exist. It has to be a fluid community that things can be voted on, and has to be a number of different disciplines that have to be understood, and very difficult disciplines. Not only the law, but obviously the code, obviously economics, obviously a number of other different, very, very detailed disciplines that need to be understood. And I think EOS has addressed all these very nicely. Problem is there's a short term where people are still trying to understand it. This isn't like Ethereum. Ethereum had the DAO hack. When they had the DAO hack, they split. Vitalik said, code isn't the law. We'll go ahead and give back to people the money, and we're going to go ahead and split and have Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. Now, if you were involved with Ethereum in those days, and I was, you saw a lot of people upset, a lot of people mad, and a lot of people that didn't understand what was going on or didn't want to understand what's going on, they just ran away from the deal. They didn't hold Ethereum any longer. They sold it and they got out of it. Well, they missed out on a big appreciation, a huge appreciation. I mean, if you just held, I don't know what the price was at the DAO hack, but if you would have held Ethereum during those years, during that time, you'd have seen a huge profit. The same thing's going on right now with EOS. As people start to understand these issues and they see how they're working out and how they were planned ahead of time and how it's working exactly as it was intended to work, they will understand this, and the appreciations will start to show up. You're not going to get huge appreciations, 13,000% appreciation like with Ethereum, unless you understand and hang on through times where everybody's saying that things are going wrong or things aren't working or this is not the way it's supposed to be. You'll never see those huge appreciations unless you can see through what's going on. And I hope everybody sees it. I hope if you're listening to my channel, you'll see it, because I am nothing but positive about this. I have not a negative thing to say about it. And if there was anything that I was of concern about, I would certainly say so. But there is nothing that I see about as concern. And like I say, I'm looking at this as someone that's gone to law school, that understands the rules of perpetuity, of the property rights, perpetual property rights, which, you don't want perpetual property rights. There shouldn't be perpetual property rights. Nobody should own something forever. It doesn't give anybody else, the next generation, an opportunity to participate if somebody controls something forever. Okay, so now that we've got that taken care of, the next thing I want to talk about is the DApp, the challenge DApp that we're getting ready. We'll be making an airdrop on very soon, and I'll have the exact dates hopefully for you pretty quick. But I want to talk about how all human activity has value. All human activity has some sort of value, and really all human activity should be monetized. It should be monetized. All human activity should be monetized. And it would be monetized, and it can be monetized, except for a few reasons. I'll give you a couple. One of the reasons, well, let's just take it back. I'm going to take it back to when I was a kid. I grew up on a farm in Nebraska. And when I was growing up, there was always activities. We harvested, we irrigated, we cultivated. Every day there was an activity that needed to take place. And in that time, most of the irrigation that we did was done by hand. I mean, it was gravity flow irrigation. There was no center pivot systems. Tractors were smaller. You weren't able to cover as much ground. Equipment was not as was big. So there's a lot less. There was a lot more work, human effort involved in farming back then than there is now. Farming has become more modernized, as everything has become more modernized. Factories, used to be at a time, used to be more people work at factories than there are now. Those factory jobs have been automated, and they're never coming back, regardless of what anybody hopes or dreams. They're not coming back. Those activities are things of the past. We don't live in an agrarian economy anymore. We're not going out and people are, every 60, 70 acres, you have 2 or 3 people working that amount of land. Now you have literally farmers that are farming tens of thousands of acres. So all those people that it took to farm those acres no longer have activities. Their activities are long since past, and now things have modernized, and that's the way it is. We can't erase that and go back to days where everybody had a manual labor job and could go out and do an activity and make a living. Those days are past, and they're never coming back. And people that still try to hang on to those days are just holding on to nothing, because there's nothing there. There's no way to monetize those efforts anymore, because equipment and hopefully in the future there's going to be other equipment that's going to continue to do that. And that's just the way it is. I mean, you're going to have driverless tractors in the very near future. You're going to have driverless cars. You're going to have all this technology that's going to replace the human activities. So how do humans continue to make a living? How do they continue to be of some necessity to the world? How do they continue to make their value in the world so that they are able to have some worth, some way of creating an income? And that's getting to be more and more difficult everywhere. In the United States, everywhere. It's getting more and more difficult to figure out how not to get left behind by this modernized economy, society that we live in. And what's happening right now is more and more people at the top are starting to get more and more of the resources, and the people that had those tasks in the past cannot replace those tasks, and they can't replace them with the kind of income that it takes to live in the world today. So how can you remedy this? How can you get this so people can? I believe what's going to happen in the very near future is you're going to see the tokenization and the monetization of all human activity. Somebody gave me a site today, and I appreciate who did that. I can't remember who was, but it's called Sweatcoin. I don't really like the name, but the name of the app is called Sweatcoin. And what it is you literally get some sort of reward for walking. So you get on this app, you walk around, and as you're walking around, you're recording your steps, and then you get some reward. And it's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to do a tokenized reward where it can be traded on an exchange. This is a reward where you exchange it for sponsors, and you get some reward. But anyway, I'll put the link below. It's a very, very good idea. And this is where things are going, the tokenization of activities. Human life is of value. Everything that human beings do should be of value. We shouldn't be exclusion. We should be inclusion. We shouldn't say because somebody doesn't have the job at Google that makes 6 figures, they shouldn't be able to have a good life, or they shouldn't be able to compete, or they shouldn't be able to do everything, that a person should have the ability to have a place to live, an ability to have a vehicle to drive, money in their pocket, and food to eat. Those are things I believe everybody should have. And if you can't get those things by working for Google, you're going to have to figure out another way of doing it. I believe that all activity will be monetized. And it would be, I believe, and would be very easy to do if we set up a new system to do that under. The problem with our system today, there's too many barriers to go out and get the job at Google. And I'll give you for instances, like I was going to say a few minutes ago. There's barriers in the way that the system is designed, and I'm speaking more of the United States than someplace else in the world. But the first system that's a barrier is the fact that in order for you to be employed by somebody, there has to be some sort of way of you being taxed. So you're going to work for Google and you're going to be taxed. If you get taxed, then you're going to pay income tax to to the state and federal government for your work efforts. So everything you do is being taxed. All your efforts are being taxed. The second thing is that if you work for somebody, there's a lot of rules and regulations and laws that govern your working environment, which is very costly. There are third parties involved with everything you do. If you the Department of Labor, all these things that come in play, all these government agencies that are interested in your working environment and your working, where you work, what you do. And that makes it very difficult. A lot of times people don't want to hire people because of the extra cost of hiring somebody. Why not just, create a machine that does it? Why not just do something, that's automated, rather than go through all the burdens and hassles of trying to employ somebody and then making sure that we meet all the requirements and restrictions and the laws and all this other stuff. But what if we create another economy that runs alongside of the economy of all the taxes and all the other stuff that goes along with, but an economy where just human endeavor, human activity can be rewarded without all the burdens and all the systems in place, without all the all the waste, not only all the waste but the fraud, not only all the fraud but the greediness, not only the greediness but the self-interest. If we could erase all that and now just have a world where activity is rewarded, and in the case of our DApp, our challenge DApp that we're making, we're rewarding activity. And not only in the way that Sweatcoin does, where you self-reward yourself by making a walk someplace, we're rewarding your activity by somebody asking you or saying, look, I'm going to make a challenge for you to do that activity. So both sides are rewarded. Not only the person that does the activity, but the person that initiates you doing the activity. A positive activity, something positive that you do. Every single night, I take this walk. And that's why I make these videos. And I will make a video for you every single night. I'll make a video for you even when I don't feel well, because I want to talk about this, because it's so exciting to me. And I'm so passionate about it. I want to make a video every night. I think about these videos most of the day, and then I put my thoughts together as I'm walking around at night. But these nightly walks that I have, they are of benefit to me. They're a benefit not only of the fact that I get an opportunity to get out, breathe some fresh air, and intermingle with people, talk to people, and I talk to people almost every night. But I also get the benefit of having a health benefit. I get out, I get some activity, I burn some calories, I do all this. All this is a benefit from me. Why shouldn't I get paid for it? Why shouldn't I get paid for walking around here at night? It's human activity. It's a benefit. It's a benefit to me, and it's a benefit to the whole, actually, the way it's a benefit because I'm creating content. The internet, the value of the internet is content. As I walk around at night and I can record my content like I'm doing right now, or I could record my activity as I take each step, there should be some monetary reward for that. And this is going to happen for everybody to exist in the world. There's enough world resources to pay for everybody's activity if there wasn't a lot of waste and greed and a lot of problems, or a lot of government intervention, or like I said before, whatever it takes, in order. There's always something that keeps people from fully being able to completely have the full benefit of activity, the human activity. There's always something that's burdening the ability to totally monetize your human activity. I believe this is going to change in the future. All human activity, creating content, even if it's for a short walk, should be rewarded monetarily. And if we had a system like that, we would have more people that would be able to make it an existence, have a better existence if you were able to record all activity, record content, and then be able to be rewarded for that financially. Reward that by having a token. Be able to be rewarded by that, by able to exchange that activity for some monetary reward. This is the future. This is the way things are going. And if you really think about it, all activities already being recorded simply by carrying a cell phone. Wherever you go, whatever you do. I think there's a Supreme Court case just happened here recently where the Chief Justice, and I heard this on the radio, so I don't know if I have it completely right, but the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, his name escapes me right now, but anyway, he wrote an opinion, and what his opinion was is that you have to have a search warrant in order to get somebody's cell phone records. And when you get somebody's cell phone records, you can literally have a surveillance of them, or where they're at, wherever they're doing, wherever they're going. So it's literally there right now. It's there right now. The only problem is you're not being paid for it, and you're not getting some monetary reward from it. In the future, hopefully you will be getting paid for it. John Paul Roberts, I think is his name. I always forget what I'm thinking about something for a second, and then I get it back. I think it's John Paul Roberts. Is it John Paul Roberts? Chief Justice of the Supreme Court? I'll have to look that up. I could be wrong. For some reason, that just jumped into my brain. I'm not someone that watches the Supreme Court every day. I know a lot of people that do, but I don't. So, once again, EOS is doing exactly what they said they were going to do, in the exact way they said they were going to do it. If you don't agree with that, then I would say you probably should do a little research, because they are doing exactly what they said they were going to do in the way they said they were going to do it. So they completed. In fact, I think honestly, evaluating this with what they've done so far, I would say that they have to be not only excited, they have to be doing cartwheels over how well this has turned out and how exciting the plan this has been. Think about this. What are they, number 5 in blockchain activity? Dan Larimer has 3 of the top 5 projects. How can you not love that? They did it in 7 days. There's a lot of good things to talk about here. One, like I say, literally making a dApp, an application adapt, so you can reward somebody for being active. Rewarding people for being active is helping everybody. If you can help people be active, everybody has a reward for that. Even if you don't get a token from it, you have a reward for everybody being active. The more active people are, the more healthy the world is. The more healthy the world is, the more our world survives, and the more our world is, the more benefit there is to the entire world. The more activity, the more human activity that we have, the more people stay busy, the more people have a way of getting rewards for staying busy, the more productive the world is, and the happier the world is, and the better the world is. That should be the focus of our future, is encouraging people to be active, encouraging people to do activities, encouraging people to be monetarily rewarded for those activities, and not be left behind in an economy where only a few people do very well and everybody else struggles. That shouldn't be the way we do things. That shouldn't be the way the world runs. We should have better ways to do that, especially with the technology we have available for us today. We have the blockchain technology, which literally can reward everybody for even the most basic human activities. That's the way things should be, and that's the way I think things are going. We will have a healthier world. Everybody will have a healthier life. And I'm not just talking about physical health. I'm talking about emotional health. I'm talking about healthier families, healthier lives, people feelings of self-worth, giving people a feeling of self-worth for doing something, just for going out and taking a walk and getting that acknowledged and getting that paid for. That makes you feel better. That makes you have a healthier life, a healthier family. People around you are more happy. Instead of you just going out there taking a walk and going, I did my walk today, and nobody give a damn. No, you did your walk, and not only did you do your walk, you were monetarily rewarded for that walk, and now everybody around you, now you feel better about yourself. The people that I know in my life, throughout my life, that have always been people that have been down and out, or people that have been, struggled, are usually people that are having a hard time finding what they're supposed to do in the world, finding out what they're good at, or finding out what they're supposed to be. And a lot of times, just activity will get you where you want to go. Just activity will give you some idea of what you should be and where you should go and what you should be doing. And that just starts with some basic activity, maybe just exercising, maybe just going to the gym, maybe just getting out and talking to people like I do every night when I walk around here at night. It's just basic human activity. So anyway, as I said, this was going to be a long video, and it has been a long video. I hope this video gives somebody a little bit of encouragement about the way things are going, because nobody should be negative at this point. Absolutely nobody should be negative. If anything, everybody should be like, this is the most exciting thing I've ever seen. Because that's the way I feel. I feel like this is the most exciting thing I've ever seen. In fact, it's so exciting, I've been talking for almost 26 minutes, and I still feel like I haven't hardly said anything. That's how exciting this is. Because I could probably talk for the next 25 minutes. I won't do that because I think if the videos are too long, people want to click out of them because they don't want to watch the entire video because it goes on too long. But this is exciting stuff. And I'm amazed at how well this project is turning out. And I think anybody that sees that should be amazed too. And if you don't see that for what it really is, stick around, because you're going to see some pretty big things on this platform. You're going to see some pretty big things, some pretty amazing things take place. If you don't think so, and you just say, wow, there was nothing there, you'll be one of those people that sold Ethereum at the Dow hack and didn't see the huge appreciations. They didn't see the big monetary rewards. Like I say, too many people don't think good things can happen for them. Good things can happen for you. Good things will happen for you. You just have to believe that they will, and you have to participate. That's all you have to do. I appreciate you watching. And if you stuck with me this long for almost 26 minutes, I really appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.